This is a place for planting, for digging, for harvesting, for relaxing. It's a place to get your hands dirty, but most of all, it's about having fun. And that's what you'll always have when you're in the garden with Doug Oster. You want a green thumb too, don't you? Are you ready to have some fun? After being out of the garden on a trip to London for a week, it's a disaster. Deep breaths, trying not to think about it. I will get caught up. It might take till July, but today we have a great project. Something I love to do is planting containers, and I've got all the stuff from the nursery. It's so funny because I always tell people, take your time and walk through the nursery, take a couple hours. Well, I went on Memorial Day. I got there at 4:45, they were closing at 5, so this is what I came up with. There is a very simple formula for planting containers, and you're gonna learn it right now. Let's get to work. All right, let's talk about our container first and what's in here. And now people always ask me, do you dump out the whole container and fill it back up with a good mix? Well, I don't. What I'm doing is I took about a third of what was in here out. I put some new stuff in. It's just a good old-fashioned planting mix, nice and light, not garden soil, not pure compost, but just a good planting mix. And then we get it wet before we put it in here. That's very important. And then I've added some organic granular fertilizer to help the plants out. And the technique we're gonna do here is called thriller, filler, and spiller. So in the center is gonna go my thriller, and it's really important also, right plant for the right place. We got part shade, part sun here, and not much sun, so shade lovers. And I know from experience that this plant here, called a Griffin Begonia, one of my favorites, is going to get about 3 foot tall. That's going to be my thriller right in the middle. And then we got to figure out which color we want for our filler around here. And I think I'm going to put these little coleus in, because I think these colors contrast each other pretty nicely. Usually I'm only doing 3, but I might do 4 here. And we'll get those in. Again, coleus is another shade lover. And you really can't go wrong with the colors. At the nursery, even though I only had those 15 minutes, I was asking my friend Diana at Wisconsin Nursery and saying, does lavender go with chartreuse? And she's like, sure, sure, sure. So that's for the next container that we're going to plant. All right, and now our spiller is going to be, oh yeah, Creeping Jenny. Do not let this escape into the garden. You'll never get rid of it, but it's a great container plant. Sometimes actually will come back year after year, and when this gets going, it will spill over the edge. And again, I know for sure the chartreuse and that kind of deep purple of the coleus, those are good contrasting colors. All right, I'm going to finish this up, and then I'm going to take some other plants and we're going to do another one out in the garden where it's a little sunnier. So we're doing the same thing for this pedestal planter. Actually, this one had a little bit of Creeping Jenny left in it. Hopefully it'll get going and take over, but I'm going to put another spiller in there. But this is where I was mixing the chartreuse. We're starting as our thriller with a chartreuse coleus. Then I have lavender double impatiens as the filler. And then I've got some sweet potato vine for the spiller. And just doing the same thing we did last container. I'm going to tear that up a little bit though. Give them a better start. I love double impatiens, just love them. All right. And again, does lavender go with chartreuse? I hope so. Okay, and I'm going to finish off with a sweet potato vine, one that I like. It just has kind of a tricolor and picks up a little bit of the lavender in the leaves. A little bit different than your normal sweet potato vine, but it's a very common plant, but I don't mind. I like the way that they grow. They're easy. Okay, next job is in the vegetable garden, but it's dealing with flowers. So meet me there. I'm going to put some water on this. Looking good, I think. So it's important this time of the year, if you know about a plant that usually falls over, to stake it now, because if we wait until it falls over, it will never look the same. These lilies here, they don't stand up on their own. They don't get quite enough sun. I'm just going to surround them with this fishing line. This is a type of fishing line called braid. And since I'm a fisherman, I happen to have some around, but it's green, you can't really see it, as opposed to the translucent or transparent lines. Sometimes when the light hits it, it kind of gets shiny, but you won't see these. And I'm just going to surround the plants with a little bit of this line, and now they'll stand up on their own, and in the summer, they will be the queen of the garden. And this is just a nice loose line, so these will sway in the breeze, they look natural, and they won't fall over. All right, let me show off some stuff that's doing good in the garden, and then we're going to finish up. Well, it's nice to come back to something like this. This is my favorite climber. It's called Zephyrine drohine. It is a thornless climber that doesn't need full sun, and I've known about it for 20 years. Saw it on the front of a Park Seed catalog, and I just love growing it. And then right over where we were working before, this is a David Austin rose called Gertrude Jekyll, and oh man, it just smells like heaven. I got a couple more things to show you, including a mountain laurel that I've fallen in love with. Well, mountain laurel is our state flower, but this one, called nipmunk, oh, I've waited so long to see it bloom, because even though the deer aren't supposed to like it, they nibble the buds. But just look at this thing, it is spectacular. Well, these foxglove are one of my favorite early summer flowers. They just come up on their own wherever they want, and I love them, and so do the pollinators, hummingbirds and bees. Now, let's finish up. Check me out online. That's where you can find more gardening stories, blog posts, videos, and see all the magnificent gardens that I explored at London. But it's also a place for you to sign up for my Seed of the Month Club. Now, until next week, I'm going to be relentlessly pulling weeds, trying to get this garden in shape. We'll see you then.